Oh, it was just the market that I was in. When I was in Hagerstown, we did a little bit of high school football, but in Maryland, it's nothing like being in Texas or being in the South. When I was in Fresno, we had a small show. But when I got to Nashville, and I was in the Southeast, where high school football basically is king, I mean, that's when it became a different kind of production. That's when it became not just the end of your Friday sportscast where you got 6 or 7 minutes and maybe stole 2 minutes from weather in order to do it. This is where the sales department came in and said, on a Friday night, you're doing a 20-minute show, and it's all about high school football. And we're going to bring out all the bells and the whistles. And, you know, I was in a helicopter. I was a helicopter reporter when I was in Nashville and doing high school football. And I really enjoy that more than anything I've ever done in the 16 years I've been in broadcasting, only because when you're talking about high schools, you're talking about passion, you're talking about the pageantry, you're talking about the emotions, you're talking about the will to win, you're talking about these kids who are 15, 16, 17 years old, who don't have the egos yet, who just have the will to go out there and play, and who play for the love of the game. They're not playing for money, anything like that. They're only playing for school pride and trying to bring a trophy back home to their school. And you see the kids, families out there really supporting them and being involved, and you feel their passion as well, man. So that right there was the purity of just sports in itself when you see high school football, and it was just amazing to be around. So, yeah, it was the market that brought me to it, but it was something I'll never forget, and it left an indelible mark on me that, just be with me forever.
Yeah, I kind of got into that to some degree back in Arizona on Friday nights, like you mentioned. They would have a show, a half-hour show just dedicated to high school football, and it was amazing. Right after Jay Leno, right before Conan O'Brien, back when they had those slots on NBC, put that show on, and it was quite incredible. And I guess what I want to know is, do you think in the United States that level will always maintain? Because, like you mentioned, there's something innocent about the 16, 17-year-old without the ego, playing truly for the love of the game. It's before everything goes haywire with agents and endorsements and all that stuff. Will it maintain? Will it grow bigger, or at some point, or is it going to step back a little bit?
I don't think so. I think high school football has been around for years, and I just think that it's just gonna continue to grow. You see the stadiums, especially in Texas. When I was in Dallas, man, I mean there would be some stadiums that I would pass by when I first got there. I'm like, man, what college is that? I didn't know that was high school. Like,
right.
Wow, really? I mean, just it was spectacular, man, to see some of the stadiums that these kids played in was amazing. You know, you can go to some other states and, yeah, you might have this one school that's really rich and they got like the famous senators and stuff like that who went there or whatever, and they donate all this money. And Texas is like, no matter what school you went to, they had a great stadium to play in. I'm talking about that sat tens and thousands of people. So, no, it's not going to go back. I mean, the popularity of high school football is just always going to be rich. And as long as it doesn't get diluted as far as or tainted with, scandals such as, somebody paying these kids to play at a certain high school and things like that, like you hear about in college, which could happen. I could see that because it's such a big game, such a big priority right now across the nation when it comes to sports. I can see something like that happen when you got these people who are, unscrupulous that comes in and, hey, come and play for this high school, we'll pay you over here. And it happens sometimes. You just don't talk about it that much. But as long as, they keep their noses clean, it's not about scandals when it comes to steroids and HGH and all that stuff. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But the popularity of high school football will always be high, and I think it'll just continue to grow as the kids get better and stronger.
Yeah, the stadium thing was right on the money because, of course, during Super Bowl week, we hear the Steelers are practicing at TCU, Packers are practicing at a high school football field, and the callers called into our show and said, hey, what's that about? And I had to remind him, relax, it's Texas.
It's Texas.
A high school football field there.
It's an indoor stadium.
Yes, exactly.
They had an indoor practice bubble for a high school. That's what's crazy about it, and it's exactly that way. And I was there, Dallas-Fort Worth. I know exactly what they're talking about, and it's just amazing that it's a high school, and these kids have better facilities than many of the college teams and even some professional teams.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
You know, you've been on all these different shows, like I mentioned at the top of this interview on ESPN, and I don't want you to get in trouble or anything, but I got to know, is there one that you like more that you just, wow, I can't believe I'm on this show?
No, I mean, I won't get in trouble for it because they know exactly what it is. I mean, I think they got two great hosts on the show that I'm going to say, but I love doing that show more than any show that I've ever done in my life, and it's First Take, ESPN's First Take. It comes on ESPN2, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time on weekdays. They got great hosts, like I said, in Jay Crawford and Dana Jacobson.
Yes.
But anytime I get to fill in on that show, man, I just have a ball. It's exactly what I want to do. It's not necessarily highlight-driven, but you get a chance to sit down and you get a chance to talk to people and your personality can shine. And it's just a variety of things. I love variety. So if I had to choose one show over any other show I can do or at ESPN, I love them all. But First Take by far is like when I got there and I started watching the show a little bit more, is the first show. I didn't go in and say I want to do SportsCenter. I didn't go in and say I want to do NFL Live and, beg to do it. I said, please, whatever I need to do to get on this show to fill in, this is what I want to do. And it worked out. And right now, like when one of the hosts isn't there, usually I'm one of the people that fill in if I'm available. So I enjoy that more than any other show that's out there. I also love the NFL, too, so I love doing NFL Live as well.
We have not had the pleasure of having Jay on the program, but we have interviewed Dana, and I got to tell you, she's probably the best in the business. It's amazing, and not just her knowledge, but how she's able to express herself. So that's certainly a privilege, I imagine, hosting with Dana Jacobson. And in addition to sports, you're like me as well. I like to do things outside of talking about sports as much as I love sports, and you're into acting, screenplay writing. So talk about how you got into that and some of the work that you've done.
What's funny is I got into broadcasting and broadcast television because I wanted to make it a ways to a means. I always wanted to be an actor when I was a kid. I always wanted to get into, I've always had this wild, crazy imagination that, I can just make up these television shows. But, I got into broadcasting so I can try and get into acting. But, as I kind of developed my career along the way, there's a love for being on television as far as being a broadcast. But now, I'm doing things. I got a production company called Thrill of Entertainment where I knock out concepts and ideas for talk shows or comedy shows, dramas and things like that, some reality shows. Still trying to get some things picked up, and it's in the infancy stages. Just started it last year or whatever, but I'm getting a little buzz out there. I'm also doing some things on Facebook, and Twitter. I got a Facebook page now where I'm doing this show called Keeping It Real with Mike Hill, where I sit down, I interview some of the celebrities out there. I interview Lil Wayne and Bow Wow and people like that, and some of the SportsCenter and ESPN personalities. So I enjoy doing other things outside of the realm of sports, man. I always say that, what I do is sports, but it's not who I necessarily am. I love sports as a passion, but, when you see me on Twitter and you follow me on Twitter, the majority of the things I talk about is non-sports related. I do kind of comment on sports, topics or whatever, but I just think that, it's good to be versatile and be able to get yourself out there, and that's basically what I want to try and do now. I want to take that next step, hopefully, to make that transition, kind of keep one foot in the water in sports and hopefully still at ESPN, but the E in ESPN stands for entertainment, so hopefully there'll be some kind of entertainment thing for me down the line.
Again, being in Israel, it's different, but I might do a comedy show, and afterwards, like, aren't you the guy on the radio? I'm like, yes, and don't you talk about sports? I'm like, yes, but, I'm not just a sports guy. That's what it is.
People think that just, and I don't mind, understand that, but it's almost like, hey, if you see a dentist out on the street, you're not just going to ask him about teeth all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, it's funny, I understand that that's not the only thing the man likes is looking at somebody's mouth and saying, oh, look at your molars, oh, wow, man, oh, that cuspid is going in well. I mean, no, you're not going to do things like that. So the dentists and doctors and everybody else, they have other interests, so do sportscasters. So we go out there, and it's like, I understand that, we're supposed to know it, and people want to ask our opinions about it and stuff like that. But, yeah, I can talk about other things besides sports topics. So, I enjoy when I'm actually asked about other things besides sports.
everyone should check out Mike Hill on ESPN and go to the Facebook page, right, in which you're going to have a group, and give us the title one more time so everyone can check it out.
Well, I got a Mike Hill fan page right now that because I'm over my limit, and I'm not assuming that I have any fans, but I do have it's a like button. You just go to Mike Hill fan page and you just like it, and I got like a ton of videos. Like I said, I'll be doing my Keeping It Real videos on there. I'll be putting my ESPN pictures up there, and I'll be giving contests and award winners, winners out to some awards to some winners out there for some of the trivia things I'm going to be doing in the future. So I got some big plans for that. And also on Twitter, you can follow me at Mike Hill ESPN.
Well, Mike, you certainly have some fans, not just in the United States, but here in Israel as well. I'm included in that. So thank you so much for being on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Man, I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely. Continued success, and I look forward to what you're going to do coming up in the future, and it's only good things on the horizon.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, my brother. Same to you.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.